Hi, my name is Keith Mayers. What I'm going to talk about is the universe, or to be more precise, where did the universe come from? How did it begin? Well, we have an excellent theory of describing how the universe came into being, and that of course is the Big Bang Theory. And I think you'll find that there's very few scientists in the world today who would dispute the Big Bang Theory. Okay, I know it's not complete, no theory ever is, but it pretty much answers the question of what happened at the very beginning of the universe. The problem we have, of course, is that although we can wind the clock back right to the very start of the universe, right to the beginning of the Big Bang, we can't go beyond it. Why not? Well, okay. When the universe began, it began with an explosion, at which time everything in the universe, the entire universe, was condensed into a point smaller than a single atom, which seems a little difficult to imagine. When you look out at the sky, as I often do because I am an amateur astronomer and have been for 40 years, when you see the immense vastness of the universe, when you appreciate that there are hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe, and each galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars. We don't know how many planets there are, but there will be many planets as well. When you consider all that mass condensed down into a point smaller than a single atom, it's quite incredible. But that's how the universe started. One minute there was no universe, next there was, and it was the size of an atom at the very start, and then it exploded, and away it went. Now, at the moment of creation of the universe, at the moment of the Big Bang, the temperature of the universe was in the region of 1,000 billion degrees Kelvin. Well, the difference between Kelvin and centigrade is only about 240 degrees, so I wouldn't worry about it. You may as well say that the temperature was 1,000 billion degrees centigrade. That's hot. Now, as the universe expanded, it cooled. Things cool as they expand, as also they heat when they're compressed. So the universe is expanding, it's rushing outwards. And as it's expanding, it's cooling. Now, when it first began, there was nothing solid there. At those temperatures, matter cannot exist. It's only radiation. So it's just radiation, particles, photons, expanding outwards. But as they expanded and cooled, then matter could begin to form. Atoms could begin to form. Hydrogen, helium, and so on. Now, as the universe continued to expand and cool, so these atoms began to draw together under the force of gravity, and so stars were formed. And due to their tremendous size and heat and pressure, inside those stars, nuclear actions and reactions were going on that formed more complex atoms. And thus, we have the building blocks for the universe as we know it today. This is all well and good, but it doesn't really explain how the universe came into being, because all we have at the moment is to say it started with the Big Bang. Okay, so it started with the Big Bang. The obvious question is, what happened before the Big Bang? How did the Big Bang start? Well, many people will argue that God created the Big Bang. Well, the argument against that one is, well, where was God when he created the Big Bang? As there was no universe. He must have been existing in something outside of the universe. Where's that? And even if that is the case, let's just say that it was God that created the Big Bang, then we've still got a problem there. And then we have to explain, well, who created God? And who or whatever created God would in turn need to be created. So we're just pushing the problem back step by step by step and not getting an answer. Because what we're saying is that something had to exist to create everything else, or something has always existed. Okay, you could argue, and those of a religious nature would argue, that God has always existed and therefore did not need to be created. And because of that, God could and did create the universe. Well, if you're going to use that argument, then it's just as valid to argue that, hey, the Big Bang always existed and did not need to be created. What's the difference in that argument? So we come back to that problem of either something has always existed, be it God or the universe or whatever, something has always existed, or something at some point was created out of nothing. So we can imagine a situation where we start off with absolutely nothing at all. Nothing exists. And then, by some strange way, some magical power, out of nothing we have something, and then the whole thing kicks off because we have something. God, Big Bang, whatever, and that leads to where we are today. But the problem there, of course, is how can you have something created out of nothing? Doesn't make sense. We need to redefine a definition of nothing, because how can it possibly be nothing if you create something from it? So I can't rule that one out. So if we can't have something created from nothing, then the only other alternative is that something, whatever it is, something has always existed. And that in itself is not much of an answer. So how do you explain that something has always existed, always been, without having been created? The problem we have in thinking about these things is that we always look for cause and effect. Something happens and it causes that to happen. With the existence of the universe, that really doesn't work. We can't ever have cause and effect. We have an effect, i.e. the universe, but a cause, don't know about that one. And also, before the universe was created by the Big Bang, there was no time, because time is a product of the universe. It is a dimension of the universe. Without a universe, we would not have time. So, if we go right back to the beginning, to just before the Big Bang, then there would be no time, because nothing's happening, nothing's moving, nothing's changing, nothing's existing. So how could there be time? So I tend to think here that time is the key, because time is obviously closely related to cause and effect. Now I feel that if we had a true understanding of the nature of time, then perhaps we would begin to understand how the universe began. Until then, I don't think we can. I think we just have to accept it started with the Big Bang. But what happened before then is totally beyond our understanding. Time is fascinating, and I will have a chat to you about time on another occasion. It's a subject I love. But for now, to answer the question, where did the universe come from? Nobody knows. Isn't it annoying? It's impossible for us to be here. Absolutely impossible for the universe to exist. But it is here. Or at least we think it is.